And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning. Good old K. Millie. Phone number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Before we get to the big topics of the day, none bigger than being Ash Wednesday. Joining us now from Holy Apostles Church there in Meridian, Yonder Road, our great friend Mary Wax joining us. Mary, good morning.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
Living the dream. Of course, this is the start of the season of Lent Wednesday. And for people that aren't familiar with Ash Wednesday, or friends or family members running around with ashes on their foreheads, could you explain to us the significance of today?
Today is the beginning of 40 days of fasting and preparing ourselves for the great celebration of Easter. And so we begin by putting the ashes, in Scripture it tells us that to remember we're dust, and to dust we will return. And so we just put a little mark on our foreheads to begin this season, to remember who we are and how we need to change this world.
Indeed, and of course you'll have people all over the area getting ashes, and you have a very special place where people can get ashes today.
Yes, until it rains. We will be starting at 10 a.m., we will be at Kleiner Park with our Ashes to Go booth. Anyone is welcome to receive ashes. Drive over to Kleiner Park, which is in Meridian near the corner of Fairview and Eagle Road. We will be parked. I'll have my RV over there by the Senior Center. And anyone is welcome to come by and get ashes. They are welcome to stop and pray with us. We have a few little goodies to give away, a bookmark and some Lenten things, and we'll be happy to help you start your Lent off right.
Well, and for people that may want more information about Lent, about faith, about Christ, you're always willing to talk to people, right?
Oh, indeed. That's my job. I will love to talk to anyone about Christ and teach them how to do it in the Catholic format. I am employed over at Holy Apostles, and indeed, that's my job.
Mary, what does faith mean to you, and certainly faith in our times? I believe we need faith in God now more than ever.
Yeah. We live in a crazy world these days, and I think having a relationship with our Lord is kind of the only thing that will keep me from the chaos of this ever-changing world. I kind of need to ground myself in how can I say this? I just need to ground myself because there's just too much chaos out there.
Agreed. And of course, when you have God in your life and God is open to everyone, you're never alone.
Yeah, well said. Thank you.
Well, Mary, finally, one more time, if people would like to get ashes at Kleiner Park, how can they do that? What time are you going to be there?
I will be setting up the over there. Sorry about that. I'll be setting up at 10 a.m., and we will be parked there until the rain comes. I just heard Larry say that's an 80% chance of rain, and I'm going to leave when it rains because I know that I don't want to be standing out there in the rain. But we will be there until it rains. Come on by.
Oh, Mary, thank you. God bless, and we hope to see you today.
All right. Thanks so much, Kevin.
Thank you, Mary. Take care. Bye-bye. Our great friend Mary Wax joining us from Holy Apostles Church, talking about Ash Wednesday, and you're wondering why people are running around with ashes. Now you know. Phone number's here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. We'll go to Eric in Kuna with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Eric.
Hey, good morning, brother. Great show, man. I've been listening almost every day, and I've really enjoyed it. Well, I mean, I don't want to call it enjoyment. I want to say that it's great to hear people talking their mind. But what I wanted to talk about was, now I'm going to tie all together. Now let's look at the news is to accuse. When we see the news, it's all about accuse and who's offended and what issue are we going to argue about. And I mean, when a news story is portrayed by mainstream media, it's presented from a context of you know what I'm saying. It's presented in a way like every time we hear about Trump on any news thing, they're question even Fox, and they their little news blitz. Well, Donald Trump's doing this, and Nancy Pelosi said that, blah blah blah. Anyway, we've been dumbed down. The whole country's been dumbed down and bombarded with BS basically, and the goal to dumb down everybody is to dumb people down to where they're apathetic. And we know what apathy is where you don't care. That's that lady you just talked to. I mean, she was basically saying we do have to talk to God with our heart and our mind. So God can instill in us discernment so we can see with our eyes, so we can hear with our ears, and not just, but understanding and seeing reality for what it is, not telling ourselves what we're seeing before we even experience it. And that's what everybody seems to be doing nowadays. But let's get back to this Marsy's Law and how it's tied into, what's going on. I heard Donald Trump say there's been so many different organizations informed, like however many, with, now they're powering up the accusation game. And I really think that it's going to collapse in their face. I really don't think that it's going to go anywhere. It's just like you said, Kevin, we don't know if anything happened, but we're going to go ahead and, put this whole family upside down and make a mockery of our country's leadership. I mean, this is the man that is running our country, and he ain't no Barack Obama. He is not no political money puppet like the last. If anything, Donald Trump has showed us that the last administrations back to Reagan are all on the same team. They're all from the same Death Star. The whole Bush family said they were voting for Hillary. That, if people cannot discern what's going on just from, now
I'm going to have a little fun with you.
Yeah, go for it.
I would say people aren't discerning because they're smoking too much dope. You and I disagree on this one, brother. You and I, we go back and forth on this one.
Hey, man, what about staying on topic? I wasn't even. You're talking about staying on topic. I want to get to the point here. Okay, let's look at Marsy's Law. What is Marsy's Law? Marsy's Law is legalized accusation with enforcement. Somebody, okay, let's just like you were saying, somebody's offended. Let's just say that the angry neighbor down the street came over and told me that, the neighborhood association said that you need to cut your weeds, and I'm really angry and blah, blah, blah. She just happened to see me go shooting one day. And then I have an argument with her on Sunday, and
Sure.
then she decides to call the police, and the whole Ada County shows up, and guess what? I'm arrested.
Right, guess what? Without any due process. Eric, great points. I'm going to bring that up to everybody now, Eric.
All right, I love you, brother.
I love you, Eric. Thank you, sir. Bye-bye. Thank you. Didn't mean to cut you off. Eric is very passionate. And, you have Marsy's Law that we had talked about, which gives victims rights. And then you had the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance, led by our great friend Greg Pruitt, say, look, we've got some issues with this. And then you have the national folks coming in and saying, look, in Idaho, they're trying to get the red flag laws. And then you had a course correction because Marsy's Law passed the Senate. Looks like it wasn't going to go anywhere in the House. So now you have people that originally proposed Marsy's Law. They're going back to try and take out the gun grabbing or the alleged gun grabbing provisions. We first brought you this to your attention, what was it, last year in Oregon. Oregon, I believe, is the origin of the red flag laws. And by the way, if you live in, Western Oregon, is that right? Eastern Oregon, Western. Anyway, Eastern Oregon. Western would be the West Coast. Duh. Eastern Oregon, I wish that you could join Idaho because you're so underrepresented with all the libs running wild in Portland with these goofy gun-grabbing laws. But it happened in Oregon. You had a kid in school going, I don't like the teacher. All of a sudden, they go to his house and they take his dad's guns without due process. Now, for the sake of argument, and we'll hear from the proponents of Marsy's Law, we'll hear from the opponents of Marsy's Law, we'll hear from you. And we had a young man on, and if you missed it, you can go to our website, KIDOtalkradio.com. Rob Nadelson from the Independence Institute in Colorado saying this is the move across the country to get these red flag laws in. And I played Joel, the post-millennial suit. And as I was playing Joel, the post-millennial suit, I said, well, if it stops people from school shootings, so be it. And you have a lot of people, both young and old, that believe that gun violence is so bad, so horrific, that due process should be thrown out the window. And maybe because they don't care or didn't pay attention or really think the Bill of Rights is antiquated, you have many people that are back, in favor of these red flag laws. Now, again, we're separating Marsy's law from the red flag laws. So when you hear this, what do you say to someone that goes, well, if it stops the school shootings, if it stops the crazies, never mind, we're going to de-arm the good people. We're going to do this for the bad. Of course, we don't stop the gangbangers and whoever shot that woman in Caldwell, right? That the Canyon County Sheriff's Department, the Caldwell Police Department, that does a great job. They're trying to invest. This lady's out walking her dog and she gets shot. They're here. Are we up to the challenge? 580-5436, 580-KIDO. So how would you respond if somebody said, yeah, they should take your guns? They should take your guns to prevent a tragedy. Honest, informed dialogue. We'll discuss it next. Plus, again, two disturbing stories, one out of Meridian and one out of Eagle, one pertaining to someone who was convicted of vehicular manslaughter and another one who tragically admitted to just killing his wife. We'll talk about it next. And the reason why we bring these up is we can't ignore these things. We have to take them head on. We so appreciate you joining us. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. And apparently more Americans are optimistic than in the past because credit card debt is at record levels. We haven't seen this debt since the Great Recession, of course. Back then, we were all using our credit cards to survive. Who says that consumer confidence isn't at an all-time high? Of course, people are very worried about that, and that's why you need to tune into Dave Petso Saturdays, 8 to 10. Money Matters, the longest-running program. That's right, the longest-running program on KIDO Talk Radio. I'll tell you about how you can spend your money, how you can not spend your money, and, of course, how you can spend more and save less, along with Dave Ramsey, weekdays noon to 3. A story that everybody is yapping about right now, the singer R. Kelly. Oh, I don't know, maybe you're in your 50s, maybe you're in your 40s, maybe you're in your teens. We have a lot of teens that listen to this program, particularly males 18 to 34 or 12 to 17. And I don't know, maybe they view us as father figures or mother figures. Yes, I know somebody was saying that. Anyway, R. Kelly's like a 52-year-old guy. He just had an interview with CBS this morning, and he denies that he is, sexually abusing folks. He's accused of sexual misconduct. Remember, in 2008, he was acquitted of child pornography charges. Whether it's R. Kelly or the convicted Father Fauché, what are these guys thinking? Maybe you've seen the new documentary, Leaving Neverland, if you have HBO, or maybe you've streamed it. Troubling, very troubling about what Michael Jackson did. So if you're someone who has been acquitted of child pornography, why would you ever give anyone pause to go after you again, as prosecutors have done? Instead of owning up to things, well, he went crazy this morning.
Any girl that I had a relationship in the past that it just didn't work out, she can come and say the same exact thing.
Right. That was mild compared to this.
I didn't do this stuff. This is not me, y'all. I'm fighting for my life. Y'all killing me with this. I gave y'all 30 years of my career. Robert. 30 years of my career.
Well, Mr. Kelly, maybe you should stay away from things that cause prosecutors to go after you. You know, this is the problem with our society today. Everybody is a victim. Well, what about the victims of child assault, child abuse, child pornography? Now, again, we have what happened in 2008 that he was acquitted on. Then he made a documentary, Surviving R. Kelly, that he was holding women against his will. What is this guy thinking? Maybe he should just get involved in esports or gaming or come up with a couple hits.
I'm very tired of all of the lies. I've been hearing things and seeing things on the blogs and, I'm just tired.
Yes, we're tired. How about working for charity, Mr. Kelly?
Y'all just don't want to believe the truth. You don't want to believe it.
Right. It was the social media folks. It was the police that have nothing better to do than to lock you up and get ready for a high-profile case. What was this guy thinking? KIDO Talk Radio Time, 824, traffic and weather together.
I'm News Channel 7's Eric Everett.
Put together by a lot of folks, usually in their mid-30s when we're talking about people that are prosecutors these days, maybe a little seasoned, but you hear what R. Kelly did in the video. The audio doesn't do the video justice. He screams and yells, but aren't we responsible for our own actions? And shouldn't we decrease the probability of being falsely accused if Mr. Kelly is innocent? Let's go to Brian in Nampa. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Hello, Brian.
Well, based upon his body language, just verbally, what I can hear over the radio, he's got some issues. But I was mainly calling about Second Amendment. You asked a question about the Marcy Law and the red flag laws and all, victim rights. Got a question for you, Kevin. Have you ever heard of a shooting in a gun show?
I have heard of someone being shot in a gun show, but not a shooting.
Not a mass shooting.
No.
Any idea why that is?
Because they would be outnumbered.
Right. So I got to give the left credit. They keep trying to push all these laws with these fancy old Marcy's Law and victim laws. Guess what? If you gave the victims guns and trained them on how to use them, you'd have less victims. Now you're still going to have a few, but that's how simple it is. Let me give you an example. Uncle was a sheriff, now the director at BYU, Idaho for law enforcement. He's got a son-in-law that was a state trooper that got shot by a shotgun chasing a bad guy here in Idaho. Okay, so I've got a family background in law enforcement. Now, if you go talk to a sheriff or a sheriff's deputy or somebody that isn't, politically charged by a mayor or somebody that's elected, they will tell you, we'll help you as soon as we can, but you got to take care of yourself until we can get there. In other words, you need a gun and you need to defend yourself and your family. And, you had a guy call in not too long ago say, what, Idaho's paranoid? So now we had a lady get shot while she's walking her dog. Apparently we're not paranoid enough. And I just don't, I'm like Bob, just a different issue. When are the people going to wake up in America and realize the government isn't, we've already had cases that have gone to court and they tried to sue police departments saying, you know what, you were supposed to protect these people. And the Supreme Court has says, nope, the cops aren't responsible for doing that. A cop's job is to come and clean up the mess and haul whoever did the bad thing away back to jail. Now, if he can stop the crime and gets there in time, great. But it's going to take him anywhere from 5 minutes to 10 minutes to get there. So what are you going to do in the meantime? And that's what America needs to wake up to. Nobody's going to take care of you. That's the same thing with communism and socialism. Nobody's going to do this for you. You're going to have to, sooner or later, do it for yourself. You might get help every once in a while, but sooner or later, it's just going to be you and the devil or you and the bad guy, and you got to deal with it.
That's a great point. Thank you for the call, Brian. We appreciate you. Hope you're doing well. And again, brother, you're in my prayers. Back to the phones, and we are talking about, well, the rights of victims versus the rights of gun owners. A lot of people want to talk about Marcy's Law. We'll continue to take your calls on that at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. You go back to this issue, though, of how good the economy is doing. Well, look at this. Credit card debt at an all-time high. And I say that's a good thing. I say that's a good thing just based on the fact that more people have confidence that they're buying things. Pro-Life joins us now on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Pro-Life.
Yeah, that Marcy's Law is not needed whatsoever. And I can't believe that there's a bunch of Republicans promoting it. I just heard the ad, about Marcy's Law on your radio station there. If there's going to be some kind of notification of victims about the perpetrator, the convicted person, that can just be done through email whatsoever. There doesn't have to be a big, extensive expenditure of public funds to notify people about the people that committed a crime against them. This is really a sneaky kind of a thing. And but then I have something to say just generally. We are becoming a socialist, communist country. And if I'm going to say that if your church does not discuss socialism over the pulpit, it's not doing the right thing. And the people of Christ are going to have to fight socialism at church, in the streets, wherever, or we're going to go down. And because it just creeps and creeps and just keeps coming on, and you have to just fight it head on, because it is a real war, and it's a war for our souls. Because when you take the functions that belong to faith and transfer them to government, you destroy faith, and that's what we're doing. We take health, education, welfare, recreation, medicine, retirement. All of those functions belong with faith. And when faith doesn't have them, it destroys faith, the practical functions of faith. So anyway, we've got the Communist Republican Party and the Communist Democrat Party, and one of them's just going faster than the other, and we know which one that is. But anyway, that's about all I've got to say.
And are we still your favorite radio station and show?
Sure, of course.
Can you give me a KIDO Talk Radio shout-out?
Yeah, KIDO is the best in the United States, maybe not even the West.
Pro-Life, God bless you, brother. Thank you.
All right, we'll see you.
Okay, our great friend Pro-Life. Kevin Miller in the morning here. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Coming up, should 18 to 20-year-olds be allowed to conceal carry their weapons in your city? Plus, how secure do you feel? A lot going on this morning. Thank you for waking up on the right side. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning, Kevin. It's
not good. Not good when you promise and you don't deliver, like our state government, which is what we're talking about. Good morning, Kevin Miller in the morning. 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio. So coming up, a bill that would allow young adults to conceal and carry handguns in Idaho City. Young adults meaning 18 to 20-year-olds. We'll get to that. We'll get to the story concerning, well, Mr. Adam Paulson. Remember him? He was found guilty of vehicular manslaughter in the death of 24-year-old Maddie Dusky while she was walking across Eagle Road in 2017. A judge sentenced him to time served plus 15 years probation. Remember, he is responsible for the children of Maddie. Now it looks like he's going to try and appeal that decision, according to records obtained by the Idaho Statesman. We'll get to that. And if we don't, we'll certainly get to it throughout the week. Remember, Friday, Promote Our Schools, Secure Our Future, back once again on the road. Good to be back in the community. Great to be in Caldwell Vision Charter School. Thanks to CapEd Credit Union and Team Mazda Subaru. We are talking a little bit about, this has kind of been directed by you, Marsy's Law. Thanks to Eric from CUNA who started this off. And we'll talk a little bit about that. And, of course, don't forget Glenn Beck coming up today at 9. I think I've confused you enough. Okay. Let's go to Representative Christy Zitto joining us now. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Kevin. I must confess I haven't been listening, but I got a message that you were discussing House Bill 206 that would extend the concealed constitutional carry to those between the ages of 18 and 21.
Boy, whoever your source is, yes, we've been teasing that for a while. We were just getting to it. Now, when we take a look at it, is this your bill?
It is.
Oh, well, we have an exclusive here that we can use use your actuality for the upcoming blog. Why is this important?
This is important. Number one, it's important to understand that as current law is, those who are between the ages of 18 and 21 can carry open or concealed anywhere in the state of Idaho except that less than 1% of the real estate in our state that is in the city limits. Also, in the city limits, those in that age group can carry a shotgun or a long rifle open or concealed. So basically, what this will do is say, someone who is between the ages of 18 and 21 who is carrying a gun open, a handgun open, if they decide to put on their coat and it covers up their handgun, they will not be in violation of the law. It's really that simple. It's just adding that less than 1% of our state that lies within a city limit boundary that these people in this age group will be able to carry concealed. It's also important to note that if you look at the statistics, you're far more apt to be involved in an altercation within the city limits where you might actually need to be able to protect yourself. So we are just ensuring that right to that age group of people.
Well, what do you think of the Democrats that feel that most 18-year-olds are still in high school and they've been openly critical of this? Your thoughts?
They are at the age of consent for everything else. They're old enough to enter into a legal contract. They're old enough to be conscripted into the Army, to go overseas to other parts of our country, to other parts of the world, to defend our country, and they are being asked to put their lives on the line. They ought to be able to be so that they can protect their own lives here. And they're legal. They're of legal age. It's already been determined that when you're 18 years old, you're of legal age.
Well, we appreciate that. How do you think this will play out?
I don't know. It had a due pass, with the due pass recommendation onto the floor of the House with only 2 dissenting votes. There's really no reason not to. I do not like the phrase, it's a simple bill, so I don't use that because things are never simple. But it makes sense. It just clears up the confusion. In my mind, the biggest thing it does is I don't think laws should ever make citizens criminals. And so if you're carrying open and it gets chilly and you put on your jacket, you're committing a crime if that jacket covers your gun. And that's just not right. That's not the job of law, to make law-abiding citizens criminals. And they can carry open or concealed anywhere else in the state, anywhere else, except that tiny little bit. In fact, it's less than 1% of the area in our state.
Well, we appreciate you making time for us this morning, ma'am.
Oh, Kevin, it's my pleasure. I always have time for you and your listeners. You're just great. Thank you.
Thank you. You have a great day.
You as well, Kevin. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Here we have it straight from the bill sponsor, Representative Christy Zito, joining us in real time right here on KIDO Talk Radio. John in Boise, thank you for your patience. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How you doing?
Hey, John, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
All right. I just wanted to say the people that are against the Marsy's law coming out, I just feel like they don't know anyone, or I don't know, anyone that's been an actual victim, because I have a family member who's been a victim. She's been raped. The guy went to jail, and he served the short time that he did. He got out, and then just checking the news later on, this family member saw that he had done it again, and she was never notified that he was released. And it's ridiculous. There has to be something in place where these victims can know what's going on with people that have hurt them in the past. It's just, I don't know, something's got to change, something's got to be done, because it's traumatizing. It really is. It's life-changing.
Well, what do you say to people that are speaking out against Marsy's law, then?
I think, honestly, they're misinformed, or they're ignorant, or they just don't care. Because if they knew someone, a sister, a wife, an aunt, someone that was, sexually, assaulted or raped, I think their tune would change.
John, I appreciate you sharing that story. I know it's not easy.
No, it's not. It sucks, and just random people that come on or whatever that say, "Oh, we don't need this," or they can just get an email and they can be notified. Whatever. I don't know. It's not enough. It's not enough.
Thank you, John. My best to you, brother.
All right. Thank you, sir.
There we have it. The other side of the story concerning Marsy's Law. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. I do believe that victims should be notified. I do believe that there should be a greater attempt to make sure that these convicted criminals are taken care of. You know, our challenge here is, and maybe this is just, maybe we should just bill ourselves as the backup quarterback. You know, the backup quarterback that everybody loves, the backup quarterback because they never make plays, but they always look so good in practice. Maybe we should just call ourselves the backup quarterback show. And the reason why I say this is, you know, we have incredible opportunity, but incredible challenges here in our great state of Idaho. We have a prison system where we're sending people to Texas, and we have allegations that our Idaho inmates are being beaten by the Texans. We have people that are put in custody of the state that have been convicted of crimes, and yet the state is negligent, allegedly, in its duty to protect them from the bad people, and they come out worse than when they came in. And then we have people that have been victims of crime that want to know that the perpetrator is getting on, you know, coming out, going to be on the loose, and we don't notify them. No, there has to be a clean bill. When we're talking about a Medicaid expansion, what about a clean bill where it just addresses victims? It has nothing to do with the state trying to take your weapons. That's the real point, right? Tess in Boise with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. That's 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Good morning, Tess.
Hi, it certainly is. Yeah, well, it's heartbreaking to listen to different people's stories. You know, I hate to think that everyone would consider that those who are not advocates for this, such as myself, you know, I'm not misinformed, I'm not ignorant, and I do care. We had a close friend whose 11-year-old daughter was kidnapped, raped, and murdered. And so, you know, the issue is that what's always behind the magic curtain? When they brought the advocates in to talk to people about Marsy's Law, one of the questions I asked was, do you or your cohorts or your associates have any monetary gains because of what this could affect? And they did not answer that question. So that's always the question behind the magic curtain, you know, because evil hides in complexity. So take a look back. And I don't support Marsy's Law because I do know that parole and probation, parole commission, a lot of these organizations, including Boise City, you might want to have one of their victim advocates come on board to talk about this. A lot of these are already being done. But the difference is when you put it in constitutional language for the state, that means access to what? To millions of dollars in funds. That's what's behind the curtain. And anything else that can be attached to that, also, you know, your red flag laws, that's what trails behind it. So this is the best reason to take a look for it. And you can do that by looking at Idaho Secretary of State. They have the filing on board there for Marsy's Law Advocates. It's an LLC, out of California that uses a registered agent here in Idaho. So just do a little bit of homework. I think people do support victims. Maybe they need to put more money towards the agencies so they can have more victim advocates who do the notifications, work with the victims, and work with other agencies.
Tess, thank you for the call.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you for listening to KIDO Talk Radio. Aquaman joins us now. KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Aquaman.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
The king of the sea. We're so blessed to have you with us.
Thank you. I still can't get Judge Windmill to pay for my dorsal fin.
Judge Windmill, he's certainly in the news, is he not?
Well, bad news as far as I'm concerned, real bad news. But, yeah, he's a little tight with his wallet when it comes to his own money and my dorsal fin. But
well, it depends.
Anyway,
if you were incarcerated, then I think you'd have a better chance.
Well, gosh, I'm a family man and an aquatic man, but I don't think I want to run that risk. Hey, I wanted to run something by you because I know you're a man of faith. How do you feel about politics being addressed in church? Pro-Life was talking about churches addressing socialism.
Well, not to get myself into too much trouble, but I think that's Pandora's box. And quite frankly, this is known by everybody, Aquaman. I'm a Catholic Christian, and there have been issues wherever I've attended church where you have people start telling me that socialism is good and I need to, pray for the terrorist and all these things. And I don't want that, man. I want the Lord. I want my faith. I don't want people telling me about how divisive America is if only they can relate it to a biblical scripture. I get that sometimes. I've gotten that throughout my life, and I'm sure many people have, where you have progressive people, instead of talking about God and the gospel and the Bible, they're talking about, socialism or politics. And I'm like, not down with that. Not down with that either. I mean, the guy that runs the Catholic Church now, the Pope, he's a very progressive, so he might be in favor of social justice. I disagree with that. That's not what I go to church for.
I have to concur, because there was no worse political time that I can think of than when Christ was walking the earth. And based on what I read, he didn't get into politics, but I think that his genius, his true brilliance as the Savior, was that he focused on people's thoughts and attitudes instead, worked from the inside out. And that's all I've got.
All right, Aquaman, take care.
Ya.
I love you, sir. Take care. Always good to have a Superman on board with us. Johnny in Boise, thank you for your patience. You're on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller. Hello, Johnny.
Hey, Kevin. I just wanted to comment on that caller that was an advocate for pretty much kids carrying guns, 18 to 21. Sorry, got a cold here, but I don't think that's a great idea. I really don't. You can go at it from like a scientific point of view, and the fact that their prefrontal cortex isn't even fully established or developed. They can't even keep track of their iPhone. So the fact that we would trust them with a hand. Now I got my enhanced. I carry everywhere I go. I know the responsibility that comes along with that. And I just don't think it would be a good idea at all in city limits. Now hunting, again, I do a lot of hunting. That's a different story outside city limits. But
well, Johnny, I appreciate your phone call, but let's hit it one more time and just be direct. Why do you think this is a bad idea?
Pretty much because they're not, these millennials, the kids coming up nowadays, they do not have the responsibility. They are not taught the responsibility to take on something of that magnitude, period. Now, if there was a set training course that was extremely extensive and hard for them to pass, and a handful could get through it, and show that they're ready for that responsibility, then I could sign off on it. But just as a rule, there's no way in the world the kids nowadays coming up are ready for a responsibility such as that. In general, as a rule, there might be specific cases where I'm wrong, but that's my take on that, and it comes from experience. So,
Johnny, I appreciate it. You have a great day, sir.
You too.
And coming up next, Fox News plus the latest on this shooting in Meridian. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Don't forget our great friend Glenn Beck coming up. Dave Ramsey as well. Let's get you to work safely and on time. And Kevin Miller in the morning, urging you to pray for the family of a woman who was killed by her husband. He just admitted to it in Meridian. We've been talking about it all morning long. A 42-year-old man. Now, he's got kids, and this happened last night. So keep those folks in your thoughts and prayers. Ray and Maya, great job. Joel, the mini suit, we appreciate you. Everybody have a great day. God bless. Keep the faith. And Glenn Beck is next. Stay tuned.